Hello, Nordanger students, and welcome to another constructing element on web authoring using JavaScript. And we're going to look at today about creating a page for your digital badges. You get awarded when you're online. And so we're going to apply what you've learned so far to produce a simple web page to showcase all your successes. So before we go any further, we need to save some files, and we need to create a folder directory for storing everything. So you're going to find on the SharePoint a file called badges that I need you to save. I want you to save it in a folder called badge page, and I want this badges within that folder. And then I want you to create 3 subdirectories within here. Badges, one called CSS, and JS. CSS will have all the styles, JS will have the JavaScript, and badges will contain your badges. And it's very, very common for you not to have all your CSS or your JavaScript and your HTML in one file. You actually have your JavaScript and your style sheet all linked from your HTML file. And that means that you can have 20 web pages all linked to one style sheet, and it saves, and it means that you can then make changes a lot quicker. So once you save the badges and you've saved it into this directory, then you need to download the badges style sheet as well and save that in the CSS directory. And I've also put some badges that I've been awarded on Global Campus inside the badges folder. And for now, I've called them placeholder 1, placeholder 2, placeholder 3, placeholder 4, placeholder 5. I'm going to open up this file in Notepad++, and it already has all the HTML there for us. And you can see in the head there is a line that references location of that style sheet, the badges.css. It's in the CSS directory and it's called badges.stylesheet, which is great. We also want to create another line where we're going to have a link this time to the JavaScript file that we're going to create, which is going to be in the JS directory, and it's going to be called badges.js. And I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go back to my folders, and I will open this in Google Chrome. And nothing happens. In fact, if I go to the More Tools and Developer Tools, there are errors here because it can't load the badges.js, it can't load the placeholders, it can't find the other JS file there either because they don't exist. We've got placeholder, but they're called placeholder 1, placeholder 2, and so on. So we've got a lot of errors in here that we need to fix. So let's have a look back at this file, and we can see our placeholders, our badges, and it tells us the name of the images that it's got, the name of the file. So it says in the badges folder, there are 5 images, placeholder.png, placeholder.png, and so on. We need to check the names of our files, and there are 5, and I've called it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to just change these to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, I'm going to save that, go back, I will refresh it, and this time those badges all appear. Okay. The only 2 errors now, the JavaScript, but the badges all appear, which is great. So the next step is to create a JavaScript file. So I need to go back here and I need to go File and New. I will save this as file as I think it's badges.js. So we want to save it in the JS folder. Let's just quickly check what it's called. It's called badges.js. Yes, we need that one. And we'll save this and we'll call this badges. Save it in the JS folder. And we want JavaScript. So we need to find JavaScript, which is .js, which is this one here. And we're going to say save. And we will put console. Let's see if this works. Console.log. And we'll say JavaScript file works. And I will save that. Let's go back and we'll refresh it. It's still looking for that other JavaScript file, but now it definitely is linked to that JavaScript file that I've just created because it's just told me JavaScript file works. So it's now linking up. We've now got the badges correctly linked. We've now got the JavaScript file correctly linked to our HTML file. So now we want to create a list of the badges you've achieved, okay? And we could do this by using what's called as an array. So in creating an array in your program. And an array is an arrangement of items. For example, and I've got a couple of examples below. So the first one here is of a shopping list, and we've got shopping, and we're assigning some values using square brackets this time, and I have milk, cheese, bread, orange juice, biscuits, and washing powder in this array. And the next list is a list of cats, and again I'm assigning many items to this list. So I'm naming different cats in square brackets separated by commas. And so the names Henry, Ninja, Chester, Patch, Banjo, and Ringo in this list. I'm then going to put console.log shopping, then console.log list of cats. Then I'm going to do console.log shopping square brackets 3. So it will find the value in the third item in the list. And then console.log shopping.length. So if I go back and I refresh this, I'll have to open up my developer tools and my console. I have different ones here. If I just make this, there we are, look at this. You can see the first one, it has displayed the items in the list. Let's just go back a sec, just save it. There we go, it's displayed the items in the list here, in both the lists. The next one, it's displaying the third item in my shopping. And as you can see, the third one is actually the fourth item, because on computers, they start at the number 0. So 0 is actually the first item. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually so when we say 3, we're telling it to be the fourth position. Okay, bit confusing that. So if we say 1, it'd be asking for milk, which is 0. And then the length will find the length of that array. So in this case, there are 6 items, 0 to 5. But for this, what we want to do is we want to count the number of badges I've been awarded. And so let's have a look at our HTML code. And where we're interested in is this area here, and we're interested in the div ID, which is badges1, the image, the IMG placeholders there, so, and also this div ID down here, this text count. So let's go back into our JavaScript and let's delete everything that's in this JavaScript at the moment because we don't need this anymore. So now we're going to take all the images we've got, all the images with a tagline IMG, and we're going to add it to an array called image array. And we're going to do this when the window loads. And just to check to see if it works, I've got this console.log, and it should, when I save this and I run it in Chrome, it will then display all the image. So let's refresh this, and we have a slight error here. So let's see what that error is. And looking at the code, I can see a very quick mistake. In fact, it tells me that this isn't, it doesn't understand this. And the reason is I've missed out the S here. And we can see when I type the S, it's actually giving me some clues here that I've forgotten something, which is very useful. So if I save that this time, go back, and I refresh, there we go. It now shows me 5 in this array. If I just click here, it will show me 5 items. And if I hover over them in Chrome, I can then see which one is which is very, very useful there. Now we're going to use the text count div to display the number of display the number of badges. So we're going to go over here, and within this, I'm going to add another line, and this will basically another variable, so text count, and it will get the element by ID, the text count from the HTML document, and then I need to add within the text count div, I need to add an inner HTML code in here. And then we need to add the inner HTML code underneath, which will then count the number of items on there. And it should appear on the screen. So if I go back to Chrome and I refresh it, it's got 5 here. Okay, so that's very nice there. Now let's have a look at the progress bar. And if we go to HTML, we can see the progress bar fill is this here. So we need to remember this. And we need to add this bit of code into here. So this is basically getting the element ID, progress bar fill, dot style, dot width. And let's see what happens here. Let's run this. Okay, so this is the progress bar. Refresh it. Oh, it's appeared like that. So it's got, so that's gone 25%. Let's see what happens if I change this number. Let's change it by 20. Save. Refresh again, and it gets more. So we can change that. We can have a progress bar there to see how well we're doing. Now I want to see if the progress bar actually works. So I'm going to change this and just add a new variable. So I'm going to call this image array. I've modified some of this code here. So first two, line 4 and 5 are the same, but line 6 is now going to say total badges gained. And down here, progress will actually then do a bit of a math formula divided by the number of badges available, 6 times by 100. And it should then put the progress, whatever progress that it is. So let's see if this works. Let's go to Google Chrome and we'll refresh. So as you can see, I said 5, and this has given me up to here. Let's go back to Notepad++, and let's just remove one of these, see if it let's remove 2 of them. See if this works. So if I remove 2 and refresh, the bar gets smaller. So it changes depending on the number of items in this list, which is great. So now we want to animate our progress bar. Basically, we want to increase the width of the progress bar by 1% every 20 milliseconds. Now I'm going to start you off and you're going to try and finish this. So I'm going to add a new variable called fill% here, and I'm going to add a function called timer. And I'm going to put that down here. Let's just indent that in, and I'm going to save. Let's just go and see if this works or anything works. It says there's an error here on line 14, so let's have a quick look. We're missing one. So we've got our open brackets there, open brackets here. We're definitely missing one. Let's add a bracket over here, see if this works. Let's go back. And there we go. We seem to have that working there. So I know that's a long one for you, but it's now time for your consolidation activity. So good luck, and I'll see you in the next activity.